Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. How prepared are you in the areas of knowledge, education, history? I mean, we work on the food and medicine, defense and homestead and all that kind of stuff. But how well are you prepping for the complete destruction of our language and our knowledge and our history? It's all being destroyed, and it's being done right before our eyes. I mean, it's like something right out of Fahrenheit 451 or whatever that movie was. And this is something that I've been preaching at for years, that folks need to have a very adequate library, because as all this continues to transpire, we are seeing things changed, and they're being changed at a pretty good pace. Maybe you have children. Maybe you intend to have children. Maybe you have grandchildren, or you believe that there's a good chance that at some point children could be back under your care or under your roof. You need to be stocking up on a pretty good library for them. Last week, Webster's Dictionary, the company that still makes Webster's Dictionary, they finally gave in the whole woke agenda, and they added these new alphabet group gender bending definitions in their dictionaries. We're seeing, as Michelle Obama said back in 2008, they're changing our language, they're changing the conversation, they're changing our history, because that's what they've set out to do, and they're doing a pretty good job of it. The critical race theory completely just abandons all truth and reason and creates some new type of history that never happened. This is happening pretty regularly. If you were to go to a child's school library, you'd probably be shocked at what you see. Not just the fact that there's typically some type of openly pornographic, whether it be visually pornographic or pornographic in the nature of it, anti-God, moral living, anti-family. There's not too many Jack and Jill Went Up the Hill books left in the library anymore. And even in your public libraries, it's the same thing. Of course, we live out here in the middle of nowhere, and the close library to us is a small little library. I mean, it's small, and we took the kids there a couple of weeks ago, and my oldest son pulled me back into the teen section, and sure enough, they had a shelf there. And I know that in this modern world they would be considered mild, but it was still books on gender and transgender and gay and all that kind of stuff that was in the youth section of the library. This is everywhere. They have a way of changing definitions of terms. Just in the last few years, I mean, think of all the different terms that's been redefined. Peaceful protest, healthcare, women's healthcare, what a woman is, what an insurrection is. They're changing right now the definition of the word recession. At Wikipedia, apparently overnight or yesterday evening or something, they changed the definition of recession to conform to the White House's definition, and then they locked out that page, so no one can now go in there and adjust it. They can't, edit it. That's the word I was looking for. This is happening quite often, folks, and typical nature of the conservative, what we've done in the past, is to sit around and let it happen. And then once it's gone too far to where we can't do anything about it, then we complain and moan. Well, what we need to be doing about it right now is acquiring the books, building a library, and then also teaching our children and grandchildren and nieces and nephews and all that kind of stuff what the truth is. There's a book, I was going to bring it, and then I realized, the book's like 10 pounds. It's huge. I don't want to be carrying that on this walk. So maybe I'll just put a picture up here of it. This is a book I certainly recommend. It's not cheap, but it's worth it. It's the original 1828 Webster's Dictionary. I don't think most people, at least modern people, understand the significance just in the definition of terms. Defining a word. We've seen that in legislation, where they will say one thing and then they've redefined what the term means in that particular bill. And so knowing what the true definition of words and then having a well-versed language is actually quite important. So this is the 1828 Webster's Dictionary. It's either showing now or already has. You can buy them used sometimes in the neighborhood of $40 to $50, but it's a big book, something like that. History books. A couple of years ago, again, our local library was selling books. Libraries do that all the time, have a book sale. And we went in there, and you're probably going to laugh at me, some of you will. And they had a brand new, it looked like it had never been touched, encyclopedia set. And I would guess it was one of the last years that the big encyclopedias, the kinds that you see in the library, not even like the little home use, but the real big one. I'd guess it was one of the last years. It was, I think, a late 80s, something like that. And they had the entire set for $2. So I bought it, of course, and I understand that there's been a lot of things in history happen since then, and advances in science and technology. But from that year back, it's going to be pretty accurate. And back then, they weren't doing nearly as much of this changing and redefining terms and history and all that kind of stuff. Having school books. I should get really on the case, and I do sometimes, but if you still have and I don't want to scold you and I don't want to put you down, but parents, for those of you that still have your children in public schools, I don't know why. You need to get them out of those public schools. Make the sacrifices. Yeah, you have to make sacrifices typically to teach your children, okay? But what else in your life is more important than your children? What else in your life is more important than protecting your children? It's not just about giving them a good education. My mother homeschooled me from 3rd grade on. And back then it was more of, I want my child to have a really good education. Now it's not just about the education. It's about the groom. Ooh, did I say that G word we're not supposed to say now? It's about the indoctrination, the brainwashing. It's over the top. It's been going on for years, but man, what they're doing now is horrific. So, as a side note, get your kids out of these schools. Teach them at home. Anyways, so you need books. You need books to do that. You need books on how to live this lifestyle. You need medical books. Look for old thrift stores and stuff around your area. We have them all over here. A lot of them are kind of the non-profit kind. All the money proceeds go to a particular charity or something. People donate stuff to it, right? Kind of like a Goodwill. We don't have a whole lot of them in our area. They're little just local type places. Anyways, the point is, people donate books. Go in there every once in a while and look. I have found good condition, fairly current medical books in there. Books from paramedic schools and books from nursing schools. Good to have. How-to books. How to, frame a house. How to repair appliances. How to fix your car. Get that kind of stuff. Get books on gardening and herbal medicine and all that kind of stuff. And then Get books on history. Get books on basic education, math, language, science. You're going to need that stuff to teach your children. I mean, it's not even about whether or not all this that's going on is going to put us into some kind of perpetual, total collapse of society where we're living, in the barren wastelands. It's not just about that. Even if that stuff never happens, they are absolutely destroying truth. And the only way that you can retain that truth so that you can pass it on to your children is to buy books, collect the intel, the information, not the intel, and store it away. While you can still find truth online, print stuff off. Get you a good printer, something that you can print fairly cheaply. There's all kinds of PDFs of books and stuff. Old books that you can get for free. Print those off, put them in a binder. This may not seem like a highly important thing right now, considering inflation, considering the potential for some type of war involving us, China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, half of South America, all this stuff that's going on. I get it. This may not seem highly important right now, but I assure you that it is. And honestly, especially if you go the thrift store Goodwill route, it's actually one of the cheaper things that you can prep up on. It's typically not that expensive. And yard sales. It's one of the first places I hit when I go to yard sales is any book boxes. I'm telling you folks, they're wiping it away. Truth, history, knowledge, it's all being gone. And if you do not stop and make sure you have the preparations to get through that, and this part of it could be permanent. Some of you that still believe that what's going on is some kind of temporary thing that'll eventually turn around. When it comes to this, the destruction of knowledge and truth, there's a good chance that won't come back. And don't be captive to their version of the truth, their version of history. Make sure you have the adequate books, the adequate things in your home, because you're going to need it. I mean, when someone says, oh no, maybe your grandkids finally get a little older and here in the coming years, like, oh, Grandpa, that's not what happened. It's this. You can go and pull out a book and say, look at this. Look at this, boy. This is the truth. Because they're taking it away. And I'm telling you, this is very important. I understand from a survival perspective, your first things is, shelter, food, water, that kind of stuff. But we're not in that kind of survival scenario yet. We still have time, not much, but we still have time to make preparations. And so doing this kind of preparation is very important because, friends, they're wiping it all away. It's completely being whitewashed, and it's completely being turned into their version of history, what they want you to believe and know. And the truth has nothing to do with that. So folks, get out there and get books, stack them, stock them. I'm a book nut myself. We have pretty good collection of these, but I still look because we're already at the book burning stage. We're just not seeing big piles of books burned like they did in Germany in World War II. because books are all digital now. All they're doing is just deleting them. They're just clicking a button and it's gone. And then, you know, the woke crowd is censoring it and all that kind of stuff. And again, I know this may not seem like a super high priority, but I think it really is. I think we really need to take it serious and acquire the things that we need to carry on history and truth, and then just to teach our children. Because, you know, get them out of the schools. You can buy curriculum, that's fine, but it doesn't hurt to have other books to go with the curriculum that you might buy to teach your children. It's a crazy mess out there, and it's only getting worse. So do your family justice, do what your duty is as a parent, as a grandparent, as an aunt, as an uncle, whatever it is, and cherish that and protect that knowledge and truth and history, because it's being wiped away quicker than you can imagine. All right, folks, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.